seem like it exists at all. And I'm convinced more than ever that this water pipe thing is exactly the same as COVID. It's a crisis. They are using it to their advantage. They are dragging their feet. This is not, they're saying, oh, there's more cracks being found. There's this, there's that. This is a main water delivering pipe. Like, this is a big deal for the city of Calgary. Like, again, a big deal. This is not something that should take a week. 7 days is pushing it. And now they're saying it's going to be another 3 to 5 weeks. I cannot believe that that's true. I cannot believe that that's even acceptable. Like, 7 days on the outside would be like, if we have to, the citizens are going to lynch you. But if we have to, okay, get it done and get it done right. And we don't want to do this again in the near future. And then we need to come up with policies to make sure the pipes are inspected so that we can have workarounds, etc. So, like, there's a whole bunch of things that need to be done differently. However, this situation, the way it's being handled, it's kind of laissez-faire. And it seems like they're not interested in getting it done. They're more interested in drawing out the repairs in a way that is damaging to the city. And it doesn't make sense unless you reframe their goals to damaging the city. And then it makes perfect sense. Or you reframe their goals to complying with the United Nations 2030 agenda of water restrictions and rationing. And then you understand, right? So it's insidious, and I think it's evil, and I don't think it's business as usual. I think if a water pipe like this broke in 2015, it would be done in 7 days, and that's people are upset that it took that long. You know what I'm saying? Like, it'd be done in 3 days if everything went right. And if it took 7 days, there are people who are getting raked over the coals for, like, why did it take 7 days? Why, like, people were without water, blah, 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 blah. Like, this is a big deal. And fast forward now, and people are saying, no, this is really complex. Sure, pressure piping is not necessarily the same as home plumbing. But the priority level that this requires, the number of people this impacts, it is not a first world problem to be without water at this level. And so I can't believe that the city is ignoring it. I can't believe that the city is behaving the way that they're behaving. And it's taking too long. It's taking way too long. It makes them look incompetent and or like they're doing this on purpose. And I think that they're doing it on purpose. So there's lots to get to. Let's get to it. First, we're starting with the water stuff. Colin says, if it lasts more than 3 weeks, that will bleed into the Calgary Stampede when tourism is booming. Could be tight for Calgary water supply if the repairs aren't in place before then. Adam says, breaking Calgary Emergency Management Agency Chief Sue Henry says the water restrictions and conservation will need to remain in effect for the next 3 to 5 weeks. 3 to 5 weeks? 3 to 5 weeks? 7 days. And I would be expecting a situation where people are called into the office and screamed at for, I don't know, a good 10 or 15 minutes. And then they come out and then they go and yell at their people, and, work resumes and the damn thing gets fixed. Right. And work continues 24/7 until the damn thing's fixed. And this seems like, the union said they can't work past 4:30. And so it's 4:31. Actually, it's 4:29, but his watch says 4:31. So they stopped 2 minutes ago. Right. Like, it seems like they are dragging their feet and nobody seems really all that concerned about it. Here is Angel's Cafe. This is a Calgary business. Tamaris Litch says, Calgary, are you okay? Blink once for yes, twice for no. And Angel's Cafe says, update, it's official. Things are just so out of hand. After meeting with waterworks people today, then arranging water in outhouses and arranging pour over coffee machines, hot water tanks to make sure we could be in operation, I showed up tonight for live music at the cafe and some security team stops me from going to my own cafe. I was assured today my team would be able to get through like the residents beside us. I did get past security after lots of anger on both parts and them taking down my license plate. As I was leaving the park, I observed a client at the cafe who is blind, waiting for his cab with his musical instrument from open mic. The security would not let the cab go pick up the client at the cafe. This is unbelievable. So unless I can figure out how to get my team to the cafe with our supplies, we're not able to open. Sorry for the rant. So frustrating. So it is, this is another kind of part of the anti-business case I'm building, although it's not a deadlock yet. We're not at the end of the Matlock episode. It's Columbo doesn't have the linchpin piece of evidence yet, but it seems really, really like they hate small business and they want to do everything to make you reliant on an employer who will comply with the vax mandates. They want to get you closed off into a situation where if you don't comply, then you're a non-person. That's where they're going with it. Here's more water news. This was shared in the Canada Poly chat yesterday afternoon, and this lady says she's talking about the Idaho water shutoff rabbit hole, and she says, "You've got to hear this." And I thought, man, like in line with all the other rabbit holes we've been hearing about, yeah, this falls in line. She ties it into potential reasoning for the use of the water, the rationing of the water for the farmland in favor of lithium batteries. So here we go.
Want to come down a rabbit hole with me? If you haven't heard, right now in eastern Idaho, 500,000 acres of farmland is without the use of water. This happened on May 30th when the Department of Water Resources ordered 6,400 groundwater users to shut off their water. They're saying it's due to a predicted yearly shortfall and to non-compliance to mitigations. But this is 500,000 acres of farmland. That's our food supply. And Idaho farmers are asking for our help. They are asking that we call the governor and let him know that water curtailment is not the answer. Here's where the rabbit hole comes in. Buckle up. And again, I am nobody. I'm just an American. These videos are for entertainment purposes only, and none of this is my opinion. Here are some facts that can be found with an internet search. There's a company called Jervis operating out of Salmon, Idaho. This is a $150 million facility that was then given an additional $15 million from the Department of Defense. And as of June 2024, today, now, they've been given the green light to operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And they're mining for cobalt. Cobalt's used for lithium batteries, and they need to use a lot of water to do so. But that's been known. There were numerous articles warning about this situation. It's known that the extraction process leads to water scarcity, and that water curtailment order came 1 day prior to that company getting the green light to mine 24/7. But remember, lithium is used for the batteries in our phones, the batteries in electric cars, and for military infrastructure. So do with that information what you will. But the farmers, they're simply asking that we call and let the governor know that water curtailment is not the answer.
So, interesting stuff. Calgary, how's the farm access to water? No problems? Everything's good? Nobody's trying to shut it down? I hope that that's good. It seems interesting to me that all of this stuff is happening at the same time. Very locksteppy, right? It reminds me a lot of COVID. There's a lot of similarities between what's going on now with immigration and moving forward with UN agenda tenets and what was happening with COVID. We could watch the UK do different style lockdowns, Australia do different style lockdowns, Canada do different style lockdowns, but all getting the same goal, right? And we're watching the same thing kind of now. It's really like the United States is being invaded in a different way that Canada is being invaded, than different way than UK is being invaded, right? All completely different, but all achieving the same goal, destabilizing the society. Here is, speaking of invasion, we'll talk about that. Harrison Faulkner says Canada is giving student visas to 50-year-old Indian men and issuing open work permits to their wives. The situation in Canada is way worse than you think. Way worse than you think. He's speaking not English, so I'll read the captions. It says, "My name is Pradeep. I came here on a visitor visa, and GOAT helped me to get a study permit, and I got the approval, and they also helped me to get my wife's spousal open work permit, so I came here to collect it." To collect it. That's interesting. I mean, that's an interesting phrase, right? That's an interesting way to say that. Here is a gentleman, and he says, Canadians are too polite to say this, so I'll say it, and I'm polite enough to let him say it. Here we go.
It's me again, this time.
Oh, man. Darn it. It's him again. Too fast. Here we go.
I'm just saying the things that I realize many Canadians are too polite to say. Like, one, most of the fast food places are filled with workers from one country or one region. And it is not Canadians. They're not from Ontario or BC or New Brunswick. They're from South Asia. How is that possible? How do you get workplaces filled with persons from one region and one country, and these very same workplaces 5-6 years ago were very mixed, or 70-80% only white persons working there? How, why, what happened? I tell you what happened. Here's what happened. There were over 700 fake letters, right? This is what the news brought, I'm not making this up. You can read this. You know of this. It came on television. Fake acceptance letters. And when it was time to deport, what happened? Oh, we are going to, what? Forgive them. So everybody stays. Although it was proven that they came into the country illegally. You have excused them and they can stay. So why didn't you just hand out 700 Canadian passports at the same time? Because if you're going to tell persons that they're able to stay after it is proven that they entered the country illegally, what exactly are you saying? Let me deal with another set.
So that's just one example, right? He continues on. But yeah, why is it? So we're in a situation where student visas and spousal work visas are being given to 50-year-old Indian men. And this guy's saying they come into the country illegally with fake acceptance letters. This person who's getting the result for this man, the GOAT or whatever he's called, greatest of all time probably, is exploiting whatever loophole. And this guy's saying, they're all coming here and they're illegally here, and we're just giving amnesty. We're not doing anything about that. We're not responding as if they've committed a crime. And that's right. We're not. That's right. They can come in and do that. That's right. They can take over all the fast food joints, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we're not supposed to notice. And if we say something about it, I mean, you're a pariah, right? Like, goodness me, you're not supposed to speak up about that kind of stuff, right? We're polite Canadians, right? Until the demographic totally changes. National Post says Canada has become the 5th largest recipient country of asylum seekers. We don't have, people are living in tents. Like, we don't have housing. Why are we doing this? Why are people tolerating our government flooding our country with people who don't contribute? It doesn't make any sense. It's not nice. You're not helping anybody. Like, if you have a nice house and then you let a bunch of drug addicts come and hang out at the house all the time because they don't have anywhere else to go, and then they start like leaving crap all over the front lawn and they start like banging holes in the wall and stuff, pretty soon it's not a nice house anymore. Pretty soon it's a pretty crappy house, right? With drug addicts all over the place, and nobody wants to be there because they're like, holy crap, look at that house, it's terrible, right? Used to be nice, that place. It used to be a nice neighborhood too, right? That's what we're doing to our country. It's crazy. Kira says, breaking. Iceland is doubling down. Immigration bill approved by the Minister of Justice. The immigration bill of Minister of Justice something has been approved by something. I can't say these words because the pronunciation is too foreign to me. Iceland's parliament passed a highly controversial immigration bill last night, bringing a contentious 5-year process to a close, RUV reports. The newly passed legislation strips asylum seekers of their rights, including access to housing and health care, 30 days after their applications have been rejected. So, I mean, that would be okay, and we should probably just deport people. And by the way, I want to make very clear, I'm not necessarily saying that bringing immigrants to Canada makes Canada into like the drug den of wherever. We're actually handing out drugs to addicts, and doing that makes us the drug den. Bringing immigrants here and not being able to house them, bringing people here that we can't serve, bringing people here who don't have, like, who are refugees, and we're telling them, oh, we can take care of you, and then giving them tents. That's just terrible. That's just a terrible thing to do to people, right? We look like crap. And then to extend the analogy, not only is the house in the used to be nice neighborhood full of drug addicts because we hand out drugs to everybody, it's got tents all over the place in the front and backyard with a whole bunch of foreigners sleeping in the tents because there's no more room in the drug-addled house, right? Like, it looks terrible. It looks terrible. We're making ourselves look terrible while we destroy the freaking country. And could we clean it up? Sure, we could clean it up. Yeah. Change the locks, kick out the drug addicts, stop supplying drugs, take up the tents and say, sorry guys, you can't stay here. I don't know where you want to go, but you can't stay here, right? We could fix it. Iceland fixed it, right? Like, we could fix it. That's what I'm saying. And so we're doing this to ourselves. We're incentivizing this behavior with our own stupid policies, or we're tolerating politicians who do this to us with stupid policies that undermine us, and we're paying for it. So we should stop tolerating it. George says, breaking, a citizen journalist has obtained a bombshell internal memo from the Michigan Attorney General's office plotting how they would count illegals in the 2020 census to gain congressional seats and $3 billion in federal funding. Excluding $100,000 undocumented residents from the 2020 census would reduce the state's population in determining the allocation of congressional seats. In addition, the loss of an estimated 100,000 people in Michigan's 2020 census count would cost the state approximately $3 billion in federal funding over the next 10 years. The memo also included talking points to deflect and cover up the whole thing from the people. This is exactly what Elon Musk has been warning about heading into the 2024 election and beyond. So there's an incentive in the United States. If you have a higher population, the census counts higher. And so the funding from the federal government is based on the count of the census. And so these extra people actually have money attached to them, right? There's an incentive for these people, for the government, to count these people as citizens or count these people as residents, because then they get money and more seats, and that adds power to their side, basically. And so it's going to be very difficult because the people getting money want to keep getting that money, right? They like money and they like more of it, please, right? And so there's a reason behind all of this, that they're doing all of this. And our politicians pander. They pander to everybody but Canadians. Merry Christmas is now Happy Holidays with a weird GIF that really avoids, it's like yellow and green, and you're like, or no, green, sorry, green's a Christmas color. Yellow and orange or yellow and purple or something like that is a ridiculous off-color, not Christmas look. And it's like staying away from anything that could be seen as religious or Christmas or anything like that. It's got like lights maybe or something like that, but it's not Christmas. You get like Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. You don't get Christmas, Happy Holidays, right? But these guys, if you're Filipino, you get like a minute-long video where Patrick Brown motorboats the crap out of you for a minute. Like, what the heck? It does. I don't understand. I don't understand at all. Merry Christmas has been reduced to like a denigrated GIF and a half-hearted Happy Holidays while people rush out the door. Whereas whatever Hallow is, like, let's double down, triple down, quadruple down. I'm sure Filipinos are nice. I'm sure Hallow is a wonderful holiday, but it's not Canadian. So here's Patrick Brown really leaning in, pandering. Here we go.
Ever since I was an MP, I started a tradition of having an annual Hallow party during Filipino Heritage Month. And I continued that when I was at Queen's Park. And for the last 5 years as mayor, we've been having a Hallow party once a year during our flag raising for Filipino Independence Day. And it's a blast. It is a sea of people here at Brampton City Hall. Part of my tradition is I love to serve the Hallow myself. When I went to the Philippines for the first time about 20 years ago, I fell in love with this dessert. It really is mixing everything together it's a form of a milkshake with ice and milk and ube. Ube is the key. More ube, the better. We celebrate.
So there you go. I'll just leave it there. It's strange to me. I wanted to look and see. He a minute long Christmas. He says, Merry Christmas.
From my family to yours.
So there you go.
Merry Christmas.
So Patrick Brown does long holiday segments for everything. But typically, that's not true of all Canadian politicians, in my opinion. And so I don't know, it just seems, I don't know, I see the celebration of all of these foreign things as watering down Canadian culture. But I'm glad that Patrick Brown says Christmas, and I'm glad he does a minute-long thing for Christmas too. So I didn't want to accuse him of something that maybe he didn't engage in. Although the first time I searched up Christmas, nothing came up, and then I had to do it again, and it was right there. And I was like, all right, well, that's good. So that's a point for Patrick Brown. Miss the Mad Sloth says, let's talk about treason, because the ongoing foreign interference in our government is just as annoying as the celebration of foreign holidays. Trudeau is okay with some level of foreign interference. This is a Vasi Kapoulas clip talking with some insiders here. I don't know who these insiders are. I don't even know if it's made apparent, but they're talking here about how Justin Trudeau is okay with some amount of foreign interference. Here we go.
Essentially made the statement that the Prime Minister appears to be okay with a level of foreign interference. That resulted in a number of reporters asking repeated questions at Jagmeet Singh about why he continues to essentially prop the government up. Have a listen to that exchange.
Why are you continuing to prop up the government who you say isn't taking democracy seriously? Why do you continue to prop them up?
So the question is, what are we going to do about it?
No,
the question
is,
to
why
me,
do you continue to prop up the government when you say our democracy is at stake and this government is not taking our democracy seriously? Why continue to back them up?
we're not at all doing that. What we're saying is we're going to demand answers. We're going to continue to push for solutions.
To see how, Marika, Mr. Singh continues to navigate that question when he is essentially saying, like, the Prime Minister has a role at putting democracy at risk.
Yeah, and kudos to, I think that was Mickey Durgic with the Canadian Press, putting those questions to him and not taking the suggestion that she should be asking a different question. I think that it is a tricky position for the NDP to be in, and they will continue to be in that position until they bail on the supply and confidence deal. So far, they're making the political calculation that that is not what they're going to do. I mean, Mr. Singh's argument is essentially, we can't have an election right now in this current climate. And he's saying, interestingly, he has kind of the same conclusion as Liz May, that the leaders need to get together, chart a path forward. That's sort of the only part where they really agree on, that this does need to become a political thing that they take head on. And that's also what sort of academics in the intelligence world are saying, that you can't just keep pushing this to committees and inquiries. You ultimately have to make a political decision about what you will do.
If you find out there's treason in the government, I don't think sitting around talking with the treasonous government is the way to solve the problem. You release the names, you have an election. Like, you dissolve the government. As soon as you find out there's treason in the government, you dissolve the government. We've known this for a year and nothing's happened. So it's games. It's nothing to do with actually solving the problem. Oh, academics think that Elizabeth May and Jagmeet Singh should get together and figure this out. It's treason. It's treason. Figure it out. You release the names and have an election and make sure that the people who are on that list can't stand for election. And I can't believe that. I mean, they're still trying to, they're still passing laws. And Canadians are like, ho hum, honestly. Tamara Litch is responding to Census. Census says, at Census, our mandate is to help protect Canada for everyone. This Pride season, Census recognizes the invaluable contributions and tireless dedication of its gay intelligence professionals in furthering that mission. Sure. Tamara Litch says, do you also protect Canada from treason? Asking for 40 million Canadians. 36 million Canadians. Yeah, the whole thing is interesting when CSIS is more focused on using the correct anagram, the correct group of alphabets, the correct string of letters to represent gay people than they are in actually dealing with treason in our government, right? It seems wrong. James is responding to Andrew Coyne. Andrew Coyne has finally unblocked Andy Lee and realized that what she's reporting isn't fake. And he's started reporting on the same thing. It's crazy town. He says donations from Toronto, Vancouver to Justin Trudeau's riding raise questions. We talked about this in like 21. James says, real Andy Lee has been posting about these donations for years with documented evidence. Why has it taken the mainstream media so long to pick up the story? Right. Good question, right? Excellent question. Super interesting. Here's an interesting, this guy he's a TikToker, I guess. He goes around and he just eats like food, and he does these really accessible, like short hits of things that don't make sense, things that are contradictory to each other. So here's a great one. It's very interesting what's seen as patriotic and what's seen as being foreign influenced. Okay, here we go.
So if you vote to send our money abroad and you wave a foreign flag, you're an American patriot. But if you vote to keep our money at home and fund domestic priorities, you're a foreign agent. Clown world.
Clown world. Nom nom. Yep. Interesting stuff, right? I think so. It's very interesting, and it's happening in Canada too, right? Like if you are Slava Ukraini, then you're lauded and people love you, and everybody listens to your opinion because you're Slava Ukraini and you're right in line with the narrative. But if you say, hold on a second, we should probably not send billions of dollars to a foreign war that we have no say in, and we don't even contribute to our basic NATO commitment, and haven't forever. Forever. So we should probably, fix that problem, or like step out of NATO, mothball NATO, mothball the United Nations, mothball the WHO. But we should fundamentally, right, focus on Canada rather than focusing on foreign entities or funding foreign wars. And all of a sudden you're a monster. You're a monster. And they use mental gymnastics to come to the conclusion. Here's how things are changing. This is Marie Le Pen, and she is all in French, so I'll read the captions, but I think it'll be loud. So here we go. But the rhetoric is different, much different than it's been in recent years. Here's Marie Le Pen speaking to her constituents. I appeal to the wisdom and good sense of the French. Give me one reason, only one, to keep our territory. Foreigners who collaborate with a totalitarian ideology that wants the death of the French. Binationals connected to Islamist ideology must be stripped of their nationality and expelled. The French who adopt the ideology of the enemy must be brought before justice and punished. The laws exist, they just need to be applied. And while I, President, these laws will be applied without weakening. Sorry, the translation's kind of hinky. Marine president. So I think she's saying like with me as president. Or maybe they're just chanting. In a few weeks, I promise you, France will have taken all the necessary steps to be sheltered from the S-files and in total compliance with our rule of law. Radical mosques will be shut down, hate preachers expelled. The associations fused with Salafism and the Muslim Brotherhood will be dissolved. Salafaism. With me, be assured that the rights of women today challenged by the Islamist obscurantism will be granted to all. The women of France. With me, the security will not go against liberty in any case, not against the liberty of honest people. So there you go. So the rhetoric is changing, and it sounds like people are becoming less tolerant of looking past, looking past what the government is doing. And so do you think France is going to be able to turn back the clock to restore itself to its former glory? Here's Real Mac, and he says Modi and Maloney at the G7. And so it's weird. It's weird. I think this is weird. Like, as a grown-ass adult, this doesn't appeal to me one bit. Okay, like I'm not looking for Elmo. I don't need leaders who behave like they're talking to children. This is weird. Okay, here's Modi. This is like the Prime Minister of India and the Prime Minister of Italy. Okay, Prime Minister. Here we go.
Hello from the Melody team. Hello from the Melody team.
Are they talking to toddlers? What is happening here? Like, this is the G7 for crying out loud. Kevin Vung says, snubbed once again. India's prime minister is hosting bilateral meetings with every single leader of the G7 except Justin Trudeau. India is a key partner for the democratic world, an economic giant, and a bulwark against China. It's hard to have an Indo-Pacific strategy without Indo. Yeah, Canada Poly. And however, and here's Modi meeting with the Pope, right? And there was a Biden meeting with the Pope as well that didn't go well. But however, Kevin Vung is saying this, but Modi posted this. So met with Canadian Prime Minister Trudeau at the G7 summit. So here you go. So since Canada accused Modi of murder, we haven't met in person. And here's the first post, you guys murdered people on Canadian soil. And so, right, there you go. I guess they've, figured it out. They've bandied over that. Everything's okay again. I don't know. I have no idea. But I don't know what's true either. Is Kevin Vung right, or is Modi right? Right? It seems like that's legit. So Kevin Vung may not have his facts straight. Hello, everyone. Thanks very much for watching. This is just a short version of a longer show. If you'd like to get the whole show, you can go over to CanadaPoly.com and sign up for a subscription. Just look in the drop-down tab for Shop and Donate and look for subscriptions, and you'll get immediate access to the full show. Love to see you. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful